Welcome to Red Recaps. A revenge mission becomes a fight to save the world from an ancient threat when superpowered assassin Kai tracks a killer. All these and more will be coming your way in this very intriguing movie titled Fistful of Vengeance. Go nowhere and make sure to stick around till the end. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The movie begins with three young men. They are all good friends with one another. A woman who is seated next to them is listening to one of the boys as they relate a story about another boy. He reveals that his sister had been murdered and that he and his friends had come to this club in the hopes of finding the person responsible for her death. In addition to this, he mentions his friend Kai and the fact that he possesses extraordinary abilities. One day, his Korra was held with the people of the spirit world, who had awarded him their powers, and he told them that he was the last Wu assassin, and that he possessed amazing powers compared to those that are typical in humans. Now, this girl also possesses magical abilities, and she was a part of Chin's kingdom. This boy, who is currently narrating her entire story, is also knowledgeable about her at this point. The following scene depicts his confrontation with the same female and his other buddies. A brawl that takes place at the club with a young man is also depicted. Then they strike at the very center of them. After that, both the girl who was listening to the story and the boy who was listening to it vanished. And after that, everyone in the club became immobile. A powerful guy delivers a message to them at the same time as the clocks in their surroundings have been stopped, and he begs them to meet him there. They asked him why he wanted to meet with them, and he told them that he would tell them why he wanted to meet with them when they came to meet him at his toll spot. They went to the address that had been given to them to meet the man, which turned out to be a large business that was owned and operated by the man, who was also quite wealthy. He identified himself as Dr. William Pan, indicating that he was a medical professional. Now, William inquired of Kai and his companions regarding their familiarity with Pan Gu. He explains to them that he was the first human being on Earth, and that he was the one who created everything, but that he later became self-indulgent and wanted to obtain greater power than any other person in history. However, the second man was the one who was assassinated by Wu. He says that the generation of Wu is still going on up until now, and that the last blood of Wu will be gone after this Wu generation is finished. He also says that it was mentioned at the beginning of the film that Kai is the Wu assassin, which means that he is the very last Wu. He reveals the time that the first human victim was taken. Then, two people from the human race came to his aid, making it possible that the first, a more powerful guy, would not be killed. But he did pass away. Those two people are still fighting to this day, and they are both hoping that the first man will survive this and return after it. He reveals another astounding piece of information, which is that his sister is working for both of them, even though the first man was supposed to be rescued by them. He explains that his sister has the delusion that she is the queen of the city, and that she can absorb the vitality of the people in her immediate environment. As a result of this, she will be able to resurrect the first man who existed in the universe. He also reveals later that his sister likewise had the intention of absorbing the power of the previous assassin. And he also reveals that she had also gone to murder the previous assassin Kai. He also reveals that his sister has been successful in her mission. During that time, Kai's friend's sister arrived in front of her. Because of the struggle that broke out between them, Kai's friend and sister both perished, which indicates that she murdered her. He tells her that their friend's sister was killed and that his sister's talisman was found at the scene of the crime. Dr. William possesses the second talisman. It is in his possession. If and only if Dr. William wants Tommy to seek retribution on those who killed Tommy's sister, he sent specific instructions to Tommy and his pals regarding the location and time of a meeting with his sister. Although the rest of Tommy's buddies thought the expedition was hopeless, Tommy volunteered to participate. Now that the three friends have returned, Kai tells them that he can't take them along to the mission because of the risk involved, Yet, these two friends are not ready to give up or accept that Kai will embark on the mission by himself. Now, the other friend, Tommy, who was telling the other girl a story at the beginning of the movie, was adamant in his position that he wanted to go to the meeting. He wants to go. All three of them intend to attend the meeting that has been scheduled. They are also joined by another girl, who goes by the name Priya. They get to the rendezvous, but no one can identify them there. However, Ku is made aware that they have come to kidnap her. She becomes quite belligerent with the person with whom she has scheduled a meeting there. While she is killing him, she can absorb his power. In addition, she can control the minds of everyone who is there, and she instructs them to kill 3 of the people who are there. Because no one was in his consciousness at this time, they were now following the command to stage a coup. Now, these 3 pals were able to get away from them there, where a large number of people had perished. In reality, Ku is the sister of that millionaire who's working toward the goal of resurrecting the first human being on the planet. Additionally, she gives the order to a well-known female Kai to murder him. In exchange for Kai's life, she was given the promise of increased power. Now that young woman stands in front of Kai to end his life. They immediately begin to fight each other. Because everyone was after him, it was difficult for these buddies to get away. But they managed it by using their martial arts skills. They are being pursued by William's sister, who is accompanied by her soldiers. Their conflict continued for an indefinite amount of time. But while they were fleeing, they arrived in Priya's town. She is the friend of one of these friends. The officer there was acquainted with one of the 3 buddies who reached him on time, and he assisted them in arriving in the village on time now. Priya brings them to a priest who is present, and the priest gives Kai a bracelet and assures him that the bracelet will protect him. Kai was informed by the priest that the town made use of magic to safeguard itself. As a result of this, a shield had been constructed in its environs, and the magic that had been used to create the shield had been written down. As a direct consequence of this, William's sister and her men were unable to murder them there. They were safe there. They ate supper together, and everyone was so content. However, the priest told Kai that William had lied to him and that he does not have any connection with his sister. Kai was disappointed by this news. However, the reality is that they are both working together, and their objective is to bring the world's first man back to life. Following this, they will recreate the world, and they will operate its system following the directives they have given. He explains to Kai that they required his skills for this endeavor since he is a member of the Wu assassin family, and that he possesses extraordinary abilities. However, he advised them not to worry, because the hamlet is protected and that they are secure there. However, William's sister made Priya an offer via text message to bring back her dead family if she could only remove the protection spell from the town. Priya, who is homesick for her family and sheds tears every day for them, finally gave in and accepted the offer to be reunited with them. She breaks the enchantment that was cast over the hamlet. She steals the talisman that was placed on William's sister's luring words, and she lets William's sister and her team inside the village as well. This talisman was the same one she had held near the sister of one of the friends while killing her. Now a battle breaks out among all of those there, and they flee. Also, they were fighting with one another during this time. Tommy reveals to them that the assassin responsible for the death of the first man in the world took place at the location where William founded his company. Now that they have arrived there, they will reveal the secret. And while they are there, they will also encounter Priya. She felt a tremendous amount of shame for the act that she had committed, because she was aware that the priest was no longer alive. In addition to this, the men who worked for William's sister had taken his life. She begs for forgiveness and acknowledges that it is her responsibility, stating that she was tricked into believing that her family would be saved. On the other hand, Kai battles against Zan, but Zan can protect himself by using the bracelet that was given to him by the priest. This bracelet served as a shield for Kai while he was engaged in combat. And when that conflict draws to a close, Kai orders Zan to don this bracelet. She is not prepared to handle the power of the bracelet at this point in her life. Because of this, she passes away. In contrast to this, William approaches them, engages in a battle with them, and even manages to injure one of their mutual friends in the process of doing so. Kai is the one who ends up killing her. With this, he also engages in combat with Kai, and he is successful in absorbing the power of Kai. He brings both talismans together, and as a result, he is transformed into the world's first human. Because his power had grown, he was able to take control of any guy at this point. Therefore, one of Kai's friends, who had been thrashed by him in the past, and who had been gravely wounded, was laying there mindless on the ground. Kai was working hard to regain his senses at the time. Kai's friend attacks the first man of the world after being enticed by the first man of the world. Kai's friend was brought to his senses by the first man of the world. By attacking Kai, he was carrying out the instructions given to him by the first man in the world. Now they will begin their struggle against one another. The first man was filled with elation. In his quest for power, he laughed at both of them, but he ignored their relationship and Kai's power to get what he wanted, which was power. Now, Kai uses the power at his disposal to return his close friend to reality. In contrast to this, Priya, along with the other boy, destroys the talisman. Now the first man was being hurled into the enchanted bog together with Kai. Additionally, he is drawing Kai inward. On the other hand, the peat bog was a world unlike any other. None of his other close pals would ever put up with something like this from him. They toss a rope in the direction of their pal if he accidentally steps onto another planet. The other friend is likewise holding onto the rope and stepping into the bog to save his mate. Now, after being united, these two friends struggle with the first man, using their strength to touch the heart of that first man. After this, the first man begins to die, and then vanishes after losing his breath. After this, their friends remove both of them from the house. At long last, they were successful in eliminating the first man of the world, and the film concluded with a victorious conclusion. The scene shows Kai informing his friends that he will have to leave soon to go on a new mission. His subsequent assignment entails the fact that there is a sorcerer who intends to bring destruction to the earth, and his story is consistent with the one that came before it. He will inevitably continue his hunt for him, which brings the film to its conclusion. Did you find this video entertaining? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about the movie. If you liked this movie, check out the links down below. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of our videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next video.